Good afternoon, children. Today we'll be continuing with our social chapter number 1, that is knowing our history. Okay, in last class we learned about the sources of history, that is literary sources, archaeological sources, and the types of literary sources and different archaeological sources. Okay, so today we'll be continuing with our chapter, that is page number 5. In India as introduced by Europeans. Okay, Europeans means people who stay in Europe or Europeans. India nalliroru Indians, right? Like that. Okay, so Indians had the knowledge of history in the form of Puranas and myths from ancient times. In our India, we have Puranas and Purana Kategalu, Granthagalu, right? Like Ramayana, Mahabharata, like different other types of like they were in the form of stories, okay, passed down from generations to generations. That's how India kept the tracks of its history, okay. But this was different from the European model of constructing history. But Europeans followed different methods to construct history. Among the Europeans who arrived in India in 16th century were Jesuit priests, okay. 16th century, ಓಕೆ. ಇನ್ 16th century ಇಂಡಿಯಾಗೆ ತುಂಬ ಜನ ಯುರೋಪಿಯನ್ಸ್ ಬಂದರು. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಜೆಸ್ಯೂಟ್ ಪ್ರೀಸ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಅಂತಾರೆ. ಹೂ ಇಸ್ ದಿಸ್ ಜೆಸ್ಯೂಟ್ ಪ್ರೀಸ್ಟ್? ಇನ್ ಪೇಜ್ ನಂಬರ್ 7 ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಗಿವನ್ ಮೀನಿಂಗ್. ಸಿ, ಇನ್ 1534 Ignatius Loyola established the Society of Jesus in Paris. This is a male religious congregation of the Catholic Church. The members of the Society of Jesus are known as Jesuits. ಈ ಪ್ಯಾರಿಸ್ ಜಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ಯಾಥೋಲಿಕ್ ಚರ್ಚ್, ಲೈಕ್ ಈ ಕ್ರಿಶ್ಚಿಯನ್ ಕ್ಯಾಥೋಲಿಕ್ ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಟಿಯವರು ಒಂದು ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ರು. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮೇಲ್ ರಿಲಿಜಿಯಸ್ ಮೆಂಬರ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ರಲ್ಲ, ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ಜೆಸ್ಯೂಟ್ಸ್ ಅಂತಾರೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ದೀಸ್ ಜೆಸ್ಯೂಟ್ಸ್ came to India during 16th century. They undertook a systematic studies to understand the lifestyle of Indians. See, they came from European country, right? Paris is in Europe, right? So these people didn't, it's very new, no, our Indian culture to them. So when they came to India, they started researching about way of Indian life and different lifestyle, different culture, heritage, right? They started making a brief study and to take it back to their country. Okay, Heinrich Roth, who was settled in Agra, translated Sanskrit grammar into Latin language about 350 years ago. Okay, 350 years ago, Heinrich Roth, he is a person, this is a name, okay. He was settled in Agra, translated Sanskrit grammar. Sanskrit is our oldest language, right, children? He translated, means he learned Sanskrit first, then translated it into Latin language. Latin language was one of the common languages back then, okay, about 350 years ago. A century later, century means 100 years, 100 years afterwards, Father Cordeaux identified that there are many similarities between Sanskrit and European languages. Okay, so Father Cordeaux, he actually thought that there is many similarity between European and Sanskrit language. Why? Because all the languages come from one source, they are derived and it keeps on changing for through different time. So what happens is, in one place they have developed another language, means there is another language which is very similar to, see, for example, our Kannada language is very similar to Telugu language, right? It's very similar, it sounds the same. Sometimes we can read it, many letters are also very same, right? So what happens is, even these both languages are comes from a common source. What happens is, throughout the time people start separately settled, and then they start developing the languages differently. Okay, that is how languages differs, but they have a lot of similarities in between them. Meanwhile, the British got the revenue rights in Bengal. See, this is the time when British were in India. They slowly started occupying the territories, right? They had already got the revenue rights of West Bengal. The British officers tried to understand the history, traditions, customs, values, beliefs and laws of Indians to strengthen their trade relationship. This is still during when they were trying to trade with India. This was before they started making our whole country their colony. Okay, they started learning our traditions, our languages, our customs, all these things, no, so that they thought they could have better trade with us. Some administrators were attracted towards Indian literature and culture. Indian literature and culture means it was very new to them, it was very impressive to them. So many other officers were very attracted towards it. They started liking that. So what happens is, as a result, Manusmriti, Bhagavad Gita and other great literary works were translated into English. Okay, Manusmriti, Bhagavad Gita are one of the greatest works of our India, right? They were translated into English because these officers liked our culture, Indian literature and culture so much. Okay, so this is William Jones and Max Muller. We'll learn about them here. Okay, so Sir William Jones contributed immensely to the study of Indology, the study of India. He came to India as a judge of the Supreme Court in Bengal and established the Asiatic Society in 1784 CE at Calcutta, present Kolkata. Okay, who is Sir William Jones? He came to India as a judge in the Supreme Court in Bengal. Okay, he contributed immensely. See, these British people, no, to study India, they started giving it the name like Indology. Indology means the study of India according to them. Okay, he established a Asiatic Society. Asiatic Society means a group of people who formed a group like with common interest to study about Asia. Okay, India is also is a part of Asia continent, right? So at Calcutta is the older name of Kolkata. Today's Kolkata is there, no? That was called Calcutta back then. Sir William Jones, who was a multilingual expert, means lingual means language. Multi means like more, one or more languages. He knows a lot of languages. Translated the great works like Gita Govinda, Manava Dharma Shastra and Kalidasa's Shakuntala from Sanskrit to English. Okay, these are all Sanskrit works of our Indian poets and authors. Okay, Gita Govinda, Manava Dharma Shastra, Kalidasa's Shakuntala. Okay, another prominent Orientalist and Indologist was Max Muller. He was a German scholar who wrote an English work, Sacred Book of the East, in 50 volumes. James Miller, historian from Scotland, wrote History of India in 6 volumes, but these scholars never visited India. Okay, so Max Muller and this person James Mill, they both never visited India, but due to their knowledge like from other sources, they constructed a book like History of India and Sacred Book of East in many different volumes. Okay, so let's see the next person. This is Abbé du Bois. Abbé du Bois, a French missionary, arrived and settled at Ganjam near Srirangapatna. He lived as a sage by adopting the local culture and customs. He was called Doddaswami by local people. Okay, so this person was a French missionary. Okay, missionary means, look here, the religious preachers who are sent to a foreign country to spread Christian religion. Okay, to spread Christian religion, to preach what Christian religion is about, to make other people believe in what Christianity standard to. That is what Abbé du Bois was doing. He was a missionary. Okay, he was from France. He settled at Ganjam near Srirangapatna. He started living as a sage. Sage means monk, like sannyasi, right? He started adopting local culture and customs. He was called Doddaswami. Swami means, we know, no children. He was called Doddaswami by local people. He wrote Hindu manners, customs and ceremonies. So he wrote a book about our Hindu manners, customs and traditions, like how we do all the pujas, rituals, everything, right? He has presented Indian customs, values, thoughts, festivals and customs, values, thoughts, festivals and varnashrama system in his work. Okay, so he wrote about our customs, values and about our festivals, why it is celebrated, all those this was represented in his work. Abbé du Bois lived here for 24 years and then he went back to France. Apart from this, Elphinstone, Coles, Brooke, Cunningham, Eliot and Dawson have introduced the different stages of Indian history. So these people also came to India as missionaries, and they at whatever time they were in India, those events were recorded, and when they were back to France, there it was stored, like other people started sharing that, right? So Eliot and Dawson have introduced the different stages of Indian history. Francis Buchanan, Colonel Wilkes, Mackenzie, B.L. Rice, Fleet and other European scholars have successfully recorded and preserved inscriptions, manuscripts, chronicles, testimonies, and contemporary events for reconstruction of Karnataka history. Okay, so whenever these people came to India and recorded history, and as they went back, now if we want to recall our history, we can't just rely on our own authors, right? It could have, the works would have been destroyed or lost, there would have been many loopholes, many things we don't know. So what we do, we look at all sources of history. If we look at their works, we will find out how India was through their eyes, right? So thus Europeans have been successful in introducing a novel way of understanding and constructing history to the Indians. In this way, they have provided Indians a new process of thinking and new perspective to construct history. Okay, so this is how we got to know like our history at the present. How much ever we know now, it was not just through our own written methods, it was through other missionaries, through Jesuits, through British officers who visited India. So these are all the ways to construct a history of our India. Okay, so I want you to read the whole lesson 2 times and write the fill in the blanks, like to find out the answers of fill in the blanks and answer the following in a sentence each in homework books. Try to answer that, but I'll give you the notes on Wednesday, and this match the following also. Thank you.